What is up, y'all? It's Sam here again with the Disc Golf Masters Beginner Guide. And today, I'm going to be talking about wind and how it will affect discs. So for this, I'm going to go into Minoka Springs Black, just because that's where we can find the strongest winds in single player mode, outside the daily challenge, which I guess I could use for some stronger winds. But for now, this is the moderate breeze on Minoka Black. This will be 9 to 17 mile an hour winds. So this way we can get to see what the wind will do in a lighter context. So here we've got a tailwind off the left. I'm actually going to turn so that we have a pretty straight tailwind. Not going to care about scores here. I can't actually run up in this. Never mind. So we'll just do a standstill for this. Actually, no, let's get into the fairway first and see what happens with a tail left to right. Gonna throw backhand with the rive, standstill. And so with aim assist, so tailwinds will generally make a disc more overstable, so it will fade to the left earlier in the flight. And it'll also tend to drop the disc as it flies. Whereas a headwind will generally tend to lift the disc, make it turn to the right more for a right hand backhand, and also make it stall out a little more at the end of the flight, which may seem a little counterintuitive, but the science is somewhat similar to airplanes, where it's able to move slower across the ground with the same airspeed. So now let's see, this is the rive, run up, let's see what happens in this tailwind. So it was a good throw. As you can see, it drops, still dropping, and it just wanted to fade throughout the flight. So let's see what winds we have on the next hole. And we've got another tailwind. This time I'm going to use the fuse. Just keep the aim around the standard aim point. I'm going to run up here. As you can see, that stayed very straight. If you saw the aim assist line, it had it going way off to the right, but because it was a tailwind, it made it want to fade more and reduce the initial turn, which is why you saw it stay very straight. Here we've got a head left to right, so I'm going to go with the captain. I'm going to aim pretty far left here. As you can see, the aim assist line is coming into contact with some of these trees here. And yeah, I'm going to retry that one. A little further right. Still with the run up. And as you can see, it flew relatively similar to the aim assist. So at this stage in the game, left to right and right to left don't do too much to affect the flight for a full throw. They can affect a putt a decent bit though. Just right now it's more of headwind and tailwind until you get up to like the strong breeze level. So I'm going to move over to the daily challenge for now, since we have strong winds. Let's go here, play. And so today's daily challenge is the Balder DGC Emerald layout, where we have strong breeze winds. So I'm going to aim a little lower with the Rive. So, yeah, daily challenge aim assist is disabled, if you didn't know. I'm just going to throw the Rive a little low and flat, no run up, and you can see it turns a lot due to the very strong headwind. So, let's move to lie. Here we've got a crosswind, and now we can look at what crosswinds do with putting. Just gonna aim I'm gonna aim at the right side of the basket here. And so the cross breeze doesn't do too much for a push putt. But for a spin putt, especially as you get further out, it's gonna hold it a lot straighter. Here we've got a left to right wind, pretty much straight from the left. So if I put a little bit of turn on this Explorer, it's going to hold it over a little bit before possibly trying to drop it as it moves over to hyzer at the end. Now here, again, we've got tailwind, this time off the left. So I'm going to go forehand Rive up this left gap. As you can see, it just drops as it moves to being hit by straight tailwind. This is a great spot to show putting. This is 46 feet, a little uphill, but if you see how high I'm aiming, it still misses low with the tailwind. That was a spin putt, and that acted like straight up, straight down, kind of like a push putt. That's what the wind will do for putting. Here we've got a head left to right again. This time I'm going forehand Explorer, and you can see that it flips up a little bit and has a little bit of stall at the end due to the lower speed, and it just kind of sticks. Now here's another great example of what tailwind will do. I'm going to throw the Captain. Actually, no, I'm going to throw the Maverick. This is that understable fairway. I'm going to throw full power run up, and you can see that it is fading. It is going left. Tailwinds will really make a disc want to go left. And here, and this is the peak, you can see it had a little bit of drop there. Putters don't get affected as much by wind. And here I'm going to go spin putt, just straight into the headwind. Oh, never mind. Need to be a little further for it to show properly. But it's... yeah. This one, the wind is off the left, so the forehand is going to be able to push further over to the right as it flies. And here, tailwind by spin putt, there's a chance that that just drops out of the sky. This one, we've got the crosswind off, like headwind crosswind off the right. So that's going to make it want to make a forehand turn and just hold over to the left. Here, headwind, bit of crosswind off the left again. So this is also going to want to make the disc turn. And yeah, that turned a lot. The disc does still have some integrity to be able to fade out, but not quite enough to get back into the middle. Now here I'm going to show you what a spin putt does in the wind, you can see that it just stays up before stalling out. That's a headwind for a spin putt. And you saw it just stays up. So if you're spin putting into a headwind, especially from distance, you're going to need to aim a little lower than you think. If you're throwing a spin putt with a tailwind, you're going to need to aim higher. Now this is a good hole to look at what a tailwind does with different heights of throws. So here off the tee, I'm going a little lower, trying to get a forehand into the middle. The disc did turn. You can see the little drop there. Fortunate to stay in bounds here because this hole is very tough. Now from here, I've got 300 feet up the hill. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, that's the end of the fairway. In the middle of the screen, you can see the basket. You have to end up on the mulch, up there by the basket. You have to end up inside the wooden square. So, I've got a few options. If I go Maverick, no run up, it's probably going to come up short because of the uphill throw. And then any other fairway is just going to end up shorter. Could go no run up driver, but probably going to be the same issue as the Maverick. So my idea here is to go Explorer, aim right, because the tailwind is going to make the disc fade left more than it normally does, so I'm going to aim a little further right as well. I'm aiming high, because the tailwind will drop the disc. And then I'm just going to throw, see what happens. So as you can see, a little bit of wind bounce. You can see it fading. And just a little too high. And it ended up going long. Here again, headwind, the spin putt just rose. There wasn't too much power on that putt, and it just stayed up. Here, we have to go through this gap straight ahead. There is a mandatory on the tall tree on the left side of the gap, so we have to go to the right here. And we've got a pretty much direct crosswind off the right. So I'm going to go Explorer, and you can see it's getting pushed to the left pretty well. And it got a nice skip there, but as it was flying, it was getting pushed pretty hard to the left. And then with putts, you can see some effect on a push putt, especially if you're going uphill into a headwind. Uphill headwind push putts will tend to lift or stay up a little longer. Any tailwind putts, I've noticed short range tailwind putts can hit band or end up too high because it's pushing it forwards, but from further out it can miss low due to the wind dropping it. So that's some basics on how wind will affect your shots in Disc Golf Masters. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the game.